Welcome to the Pathways to Curtin session. First of all, I'd like to acknowledge the Whadjuk Noongar people, the traditional custodians of the land on which we gather today, and pay our respects to their ancestors and elders, past, present and emerging. Hi everyone, my name is Julie. I'm a Future Student Engagement Coordinator, and part of my job is I go out to high schools to talk to students, or I might be, as tomorrow I'm going to TAFE and actually talking to students that are doing TAFE courses as well. My job is to help people work out what they would like to do and show them the easiest pathway to get to where they want to go to. Tonight's program, we're going to talk a little bit about Curtin facts. We're going to talk about the types of pathways that we have at Curtin, the application process that you need to consider, scholarships and costs, so how to manoeuvre your way around the money side of things. And then I'm going to introduce you to two lovely staff members of Curtin. We've got Sheldon Smith from the Enabling courses and Pete Pascalich from Curtin College. And then we'll have some questions from you at the end. One great thing about Curtin is that it is inclusive and diverse. That people come from all over the world to actually study here, and we have so many different cultures. People come from everywhere, and it's just a very inclusive environment to be part of. And one great thing Curtin does do is you learn the theory and then you get to put it into practice. So graduates are ready for the job market once they've completed their course. We've got a great, strong global reputation, and that's fantastic because it means that people can actually study here and then they can travel with their course and actually work in many other different countries around the world. And one great thing is that we have great industry connections. So when you look, here's some of our industry partners. We have a relationship and a partnership with NASA. Our mechatronics students can apply to do an internship there. We have great relationships with local industries and also state and Australian-wide industries as well. So when you're thinking about coming to Curtin and to think about studying, there are many different motivations, and it can be different depending on the age that you are. Pathways can happen at any time of your life. It could be when you're finishing at year 12 level and going straight into university after school, or you could take a couple of years out and think about what you want to do. The other thing is that you might be in an industry or have a job for a long period of time and then realise you're just not satisfied and you'd like to actually do something else that you've always really wanted to do. Well, it's a great opportunity to actually go and change a career direction as well. And sometimes there's that glass ceiling that you just can't get over. And that's another reason why people will actually come to university and change their careers, or at least be able to break through that ceiling and get the promotion they've always wanted. I mean, one great thing is that if you take a bit of time out for family, you can always come back and reskill and actually get a job that you've always wanted to do, or something that works better with your lifestyle of what you're like now. So some of the things that you need to think about. First of all, it's good to reflect on what you're interested in. Think about what you like and what you don't like. It's just as important to disregard things as well as highlight the things that you enjoy. It's important to think about your future career goals and directions. One of the great ways of doing this is by going out there and looking at all of our literature. You can get a course guide, you can go out and look on our website and check out all the different courses. So do your research, it's very important. Talk to people who know you really well. It's really good to bounce ideas off others. But there's also great opportunities if you're working in the field already to maybe go and talk to your colleagues, maybe go and get some experience like work experience if you're still at school. There are many different options open to you when it comes to talking and just nutting out where you'd like to go. The most important thing is people want to help you because obviously they want the best for you. So bouncing ideas off others is actually a really good thing to do. And visit us. We actually have open week this week, so it's a great opportunity to come on campus from Tuesday through to Thursday and get an idea of whether or not this is the type of course that you want to do by talking to people who teach the course and talking to students who are actually currently here at the moment. So one great thing is we do have what we call Curtin Connect. If you get in touch with us, then they're here to help you. You might even get an appointment with them and go through and maybe even do a career tool such as Career Voyage. It's a great opportunity to explore some of your options. There are many different pathways to getting into uni. One of the more traditional pathways is the ATAR pathway. It's the Australian Tertiary Admissions Rank, and you do that at Year 12 level. But there are many other different ways of getting into university as well. I mean, one great thing is that if you've ever been eligible for university or Curtin in the past, and you might have done ATAR or TEE or even leaving, if you were eligible for us then, there's a pretty good chance you're going to be eligible to be considered now. So you can maybe actually be able to use your school leaving qualifications to get into the university. There are many other different pathways as well. We have our Uni Ready program that Sheldon's going to talk about in a moment. We also have Indigenous enabling programs that he's going to mention as well. There's the portfolio entry pathway, which is an important aspect, and also certificate fours. And I'm going to talk about that in a little bit detail in this next slide. And then there's diplomas, and you can sit the special tertiary admissions test. So that's another option, which I'll talk about in a bit. There are many different ways of fulfilling the English component for Curtin. So English competency comes in many different ways. It's either through doing your ATAR English or Lit or English as additional language or dialect. You can do one of those more international tests like the IELTS, which is the International English Language Testing System academic, or the Pearson Test of English, which is also the academic version. You can sit the STAT, the Special Tertiary Admissions Test, and the written English section fulfills the English component. And then if you go to TAFE and complete a diploma or an advanced diploma, that already fulfills our English requirements. You might have done study outside of the country, and if you've done, say, GCSEs or A-levels with a C grade or higher, you could actually also be fulfilling the English competency requirement for Curtin as well. Another way is obviously sitting the Special Tertiary Admissions Test. This is designed for mature age students, so all you need to be is 20 years or older, and you can sit the entire test, and what happens is we give you a result and then it's converted into an ATAR. So all you need is to get 135 out of either the verbal component or the quantitative component, which is the multiple choice section, and then the written English section you need a minimum of 140. And what we do is combine those two marks and create an ATAR from that. All you need to do is get in touch with the Tertiary Institution Service Centre. That's tisk.edu.au, and you can organise to actually sit the test. There is a cost involved, but it actually is a legitimate way to be able to fulfil the requirements as long as the course doesn't have any prerequisites. There are other ways, such as TAFE, so you can go and do a certificate for, and that along with separate evidence of English that we've talked about just not that long ago, you can actually get a notional ATAR of 70. Then there's also the diplomas at TAFE or advanced diplomas, and you might even be able to receive some credit for recognised learning when you've done those sorts of courses. There's the portfolio entry, which is actually enables us to see all the different areas that you're very good at, and it could be relevant to the type of course that you want to do. And so we want to see everything you've done. It could be work experience if you've been out of the system for a while, or it could actually be that you've really gifted in one particular area, and the portfolio entry allows us to see this. The important thing to remember about portfolio entry is that you still need to apply through TISC, but you do need to get the portfolio through to our admissions team by sending the portfolio to portfolioentry@curtin.edu.au. More information is on our website, so go and have a look, and there you have to fill out quite a bit of detail about what you've done in the past, which is great, and all of that is actually taken into consideration. Make sure that you submit your portfolio if you're applying for first semester next year by the 1st of December of this year. Sometimes we are wanting to get into more competitive courses, and when that happens, there isn't always, you don't always get in necessarily straight away, depending on what your background knowledge is. So the important thing to remember is that we do have what we call some pathway courses, and these courses enable you to be able to get started at Curtin and then be able to course switch across once you've had a bit of experience. I mean, my daughter actually used one of these pathways. She didn't quite get the ATAR she needed, and so she went into health sciences with the intention to go into occupational therapy. So she did 1 year in health sciences. She did really well. She actually mimicked pretty much what the OT course was like, and at the end of the year she applied to be able to course switch across, and she got in, but she didn't just get in, she got into second year of occupational therapy because she was accredited all of the units that she had done in health sciences. So that was pretty cool. Multidisciplinary science is a fantastic pathway course for anything in the science and engineering area, and also any course will be fine for law. All you need to do is maybe do commerce or arts or whatever you're interested in. If you complete the full semester, like 8 units, and you get a 70 average, you'll be able to course switch across into law, or maybe even a double degree with the area that you were previously in. These are all our different study areas that we have at Curtin. You can see there's the ag, environmental areas, the sustainability, there's architecture and construction, there's all the arts and the business area, education, mining and engineering, there's the health, and we have Indigenous programs, also the computing, the IT area, and our physical and geology and geoscience type spaces as well. There's so many courses that we do have that we haven't got time today to go into each of the individual areas. But one great thing you can do is get onto our study website, study.curtin.edu.au. All you have to do is put in the course that you're interested in, and the information will come through, and you can see all the details about what you need to do to be able to gain entry. Also information about the course. You can click on to the course structure section and it'll show you what the actual structure of the course looks like. So there's wealth of information, and you can then make decisions based on the information that you get. So I do recommend you get onto our website and have a good look. Now, how do you apply? Well, you apply if you are thinking of studying in semester 1 of 2023, is that you need to apply through the Tertiary Institution Service Centre. We do recommend that you try and get your application in as early as you can. You can change your preferences as many times as you like once your application is in, but if you apply before the 30th of September, you're open to all of the courses that Curtin has to offer. There are some closing dates from that point for some of our courses, so if you can get in before the 30th, that's great. Otherwise, we will still be accepting applications after that date as well, but not for medicine, unfortunately, because that's when it closes on that date. If you're an international student, all you have to do is get onto our study website and just then click on the Apply Now button. It's as simple as that. So that's a great thing you can do. Just get onto our website today and apply straight away. One great thing is Curtin is actually offering lots of options when it comes to early offers. So what you do need to do though is actually have Curtin as your first preference in the TISC system, and then you'll be able to be either offered a place directly if the results are already available, or we might be able to give you an early offer subject to your results that you're completing this semester or this year. So it's just need to be aware that there are some competitive courses that we have quotas for, and for those we do need to wait for everyone to have completed their results for this year before we can then offer places. So an example of what you can do when you're doing the TISC application process is think about the course you really want to study the most. So if, for example, primary teaching, put that as your first preference. Then you can actually put in the portfolio entry pathway as a second preference as a code, and then always have the uni ready as a backup. So therefore, just in case things don't go to plan or you haven't met the requirements, you can always then be looked at to actually do one of our enabling courses, which would then enable you then to go into secondary or into primary teaching. One important thing to remember is there might be some additional information that you need to provide. And in the case of primary teaching, there is actually a questionnaire that you need to actually complete, a Qualtrics questionnaire that needs to be done as well prior to you getting into the course. So just check and make sure that you've got all the application process that you need to do done, so then we can then make the right choice, hopefully, to be able to give you a positive outcome. There's some great opportunities for us to help you financially, and scholarships is one of those. So there are many different types of scholarships. There's the academic achievement. There's also people that are from a low socioeconomic area. There's financial hardship, those sorts of areas. There could be scholarships for citizenship, or if you're an international student, if you're studying here, scholarships for that. There's also scholarships for courses and areas of interest as well. So there's many different categories. All you need to do is get onto the scholarships website. It's scholarships.curtin.edu.au. When it comes to the fees though, if you're an Australian citizen, a permanent resident or a New Zealand citizen, you are part of the Commonwealth supported system. So it means that you can get a HECS payment. What you do is contribute to the cost of your course, and then the federal government pays the majority of the course. So each course at Curtin, on each course throughout the whole of the country, actually gets put into one of 4 bands. It's determined by the needs of that particular industry, 4 or 3 years' time from now, but it's also determined by the costs of the course as well. So as you can see here, there is actually for band 1, there are courses like psychology, education, nursing, courses that are actually required at the moment. They are actually at the lowest band. Band 2 are courses such as health and engineering. There's also surveying. There's lots of science courses. There's the visual and performing arts area as well in this space. Band 3 are courses like dentistry, medicine, vet science, and Band 4 is actually at our highest level, which is 14,630, and these are this year's costings, so they could change a little bit for next year. But there's the types of courses like in the commerce area and law and some communication type cultural courses as well. One great thing about HECS though is that if you're an Australian citizen, you can defer your payment and you don't start paying it back until you actually reach what we call the average starting salary, and then you pay it back little by little, so you don't have to pay it up front. If you want to find more information about this, all you need to do is get onto the studyassist.gov.au website, and it has all the information about what HECS is about and how to pay for your fees. There are other types of costs that you might have to pay as well. Things like the service and amenities fee, that's determined by whether you're a full-time student or whether you're an internal or an external student. You pay a certain amount of money just to be able to use the facilities that are available to you. There might be some extra costs like textbooks. It's probably a good idea to just get onto one of those online providers and see what you can do and match the, how much the costs are for those, just to reduce your costs a bit. And we always have our textbooks in the closed reserve of the libraries anyway, so you can always look at them if you can't afford to buy them straight up. There are things like uniforms. I know with my daughter, she's doing occupational therapy at the moment, and she needed to have a name badge and a top, which I think is a crimson colour, and she also needed a lab coat for her anatomy. So those sorts of costs you will have to actually do as you go as well. And she does parking as well. She drives on campus and just cello parks, which means you just click in for the time that you're here and you only pay for the time that you're actually on campus. And of course, if you decide to live on campus, then there's the accommodation costs as well. And we have many options open to you. You can either live in a college-style accommodation with St Catherine's or one of our amazing sort of self-apartment style accommodations as well. So now I'm going to hand over to Sheldon. Sheldon is the team leader for the Uni Ready course, which I think is an amazing course, and he'll tell you more about that. Also, he is the Senior Advisor for the Diversity and Inclusion Centre for the Enabling Pathways as well. So welcome, Sheldon, and I'm sure that you'll have lots to share.
Thanks, Julia, and welcome everyone. And I hope to see you all wandering around the campus in the next few days and obviously crossing our paths in our lecture halls. So good luck to each and every one of you, and welcome to the session. And I hope that we can give you something to take home, to discuss with your friends, your families, and to make that next very vital decision in taking the next step. So thanks, Jules.
Thank you.
Great. So the UniReady Enabling course is a 6-month program. It's a semester-long program that's available in the face-to-face mode or in the mixed mode or fully online. So what we mean by face-to-face is that you actually come on campus and you have lectures with us here in a lecture theatre, much like the one that Jules and I are sitting in right now, where you take part in some face-to-face classes. Our program is also designed to be equally successful in the online mode or the external mode. So our students have the choice of doing it in 3 different modes. They could do it fully internally, so coming into campus each day to get that full university experience, or coming online, so joining your classes online, getting a university from a digital perspective, which many hundreds of students do, or, which is quite unique to our program, what we call a mixed mode of delivery, where a student can actually choose a number of their units to be done online or a number of the units to be done face-to-face. So that choice is up to you. That would suit you, your lifestyle, your work-life balance, your geography, where you're located, your internet service provider, and all sorts of things. So we can accommodate anyone in any one of those modes or any mixtures of those modes. Our course is really brilliant, as Jules said, because it requires no ATAR or no prerequisite knowledge at all. Obviously, we like our students to have gone through their schooling system, to have done year 10, year 11 and year 12, because it does give you that maturity, the tenacity it is, and the resilience to be a student. But we don't have any formal prerequisites or formal ATAR scores for you to come into the course. If you're an Australian citizen, a New Zealand citizen, or Australian permanent resident, the course is exactly for you. And if you look at the last point on that slide, the good news is that the course is completely free if you're one of those categories of students. So if you're an Australian citizen, Australian PR, or a New Zealand citizen, the course is 100% free. And what it does is it generates you a pathway directly into some of the degrees. So commerce, most of the humanities, some of our health sciences degrees, and some of our science courses. Obviously, as Jules spoke about, and as you've heard a lot today, some of our courses require prerequisite knowledge, especially in the STEM areas. But if that is who you are and it's who you want to be, it's a question that we can actually, as a team, answer for you. So any one of us online, when you pop in to see us or come and talk to us about your future, any one of us could actually answer those questions for you. So we do quarantine, or we do keep some places for students from a variety of different backgrounds. So if you've experienced what we call educational disadvantage, or for some or other reason you were denied finishing your high school or your formal qualifications through the VET sector or TAFE, we do have some places for folks based on their socioeconomic status. So we also kind of have the intersectionality of your location. You might have been regionally located or in one of the kind of remote locations of Australia, as well as your age. So all of those factors, if we find that you've experienced previous or historic disadvantage, we can actually help fast track your application, and you can just check that with us. So if you believe that there are any factors in your past that have actually led you to experience some form of disadvantage, please do get in contact with us, and you'll remember that address at the bottom. But if you forget, just look us up, UniReady. We're very easy to find. Call us directly and we can actually help you navigate through that process, just to make sure that you can actually get a place for yourself when you apply through TISC. So, as I just said, all of our students are required to apply through TISC. So if you're planning to come and join us in semester 1 next year, 2023, you do need to apply through the TISC website and just follow the prompts. Make sure you save every page and contact Jules or Maddie or one of the team there if you are having trouble with TISC. It's once you get going, it's really nice and easy, but it's just a bit of an overwhelming thought to actually get the process going. All of our students do need to apply through TISC, so if you could do the same, that would be great. If you want any more information, we have really friendly folks on the phone from 8:30 to 4:30 every day, whether it's raining or whether it's sun shining or whatever it is. Our folks are there waiting for you to actually ask those questions. We know and understand that this is a very big step, and it's the first step of a very successful future for yourself. So we'd like you to do the homework. We'd like you to come in and talk to us on the phone, email us, whichever form of communication is the best for you. Get in touch with us at UniReady, and you'll see there's our number, 9266 7632, or simply UniReady at Curtin, and get in touch with us, and we can actually help you take those next steps or help you kind of get enrolled and to come and join us next year. I'm also here tonight to represent the bridging courses, or the enabling courses as we call them at Curtin, at our sister organisation, or our very closely related area called CAS. At Curtin we have an affectionate name for what we call the Centre for Aboriginal Studies, and that's CAS. So if you do identify as a First Nations person, an Australian First Nations person, we have 3 options of courses within the Centre for Aboriginal Studies. So we have the course called ITEC, which is the Indigenous Tertiary Enabling course, exactly like UniReady. It's 6 months long, and it gets you into some of those courses, but not all. But then we do have 2 very exciting courses that have been running for a few years now. They're full year courses, so they're a year long. The first course is the Indigenous Pre-Med. So this course was designed to fast-track students into the medical school and to get them through all those tests and through all those hurdles that we heard early on, Maddie talking about the different ways to get into the medical school, as well as other allied health sciences as well. So remember the Indigenous Pre-Med, if you identify as a First Nations or an Aboriginal, a Torres Strait Islander, Australian, there is a full year-long course to get you to those courses that have very high prereqs and very high ATAR scores. Exactly the same counts for the Indigenous Pre-Science and Engineering. Of course, obviously we know that students going into areas like science and engineering need lots of physics, lots of chemistry, and lots of high-level maths. This course takes care of all of that. It does, in a year, prepare you for all of those high levels of mathematics, the calculus, the trigonometry, the engineering studies that one needs in order to be successful in engineering. So if you do identify as a First Nations person and you're interested in either the 6-month general ITEC or the Indigenous Pre-Med or the Indigenous Pre-Science and Engineering, contact CAS. There's their number, so CAS, the Centre for Aboriginal Studies, on 9266. You'll start hearing that number quite a lot, 9266. It's the prefix for all Curtin numbers. Their extension is 7091, or contact them on that email address. Their application process is slightly different to the rest of the university. They don't currently work through TISC. You apply directly through the faculty, or the area as we call it. And you will be required to submit a number of documents. You may be required to come in and do an assessment test or an assessment workshop to find out which course is best for you. But just work together with the folks over at CAS, and they'll guide you. They'll take you through all the steps and the hoops that you actually need to fill in the right papers to actually get to that very first stage of joining us and getting yourself into a lecture theatre here at Curtin and changing the way you see the world within a few years. So good luck to each and every one of you. Once again, if you look for UniReady or you look for CAS, anyone you get on the phones will be able to help you, as well as our future students folks and the advisors that you're meeting throughout this week and tonight. Every single one of us will point you exactly in the right direction to fast track you, to get you to exactly where you need to be. And good luck with your studies, good luck with your exams coming up, good luck with life as we head into this the spring and the Jiran part of our lives. So good luck to everyone, and we'll be around for some questions a little bit later if you do need them.
Fantastic. And now I'd like to introduce you to Pete. Pete is actually the marketing manager for Curtin College. Welcome, Pete.
Hey, Jules. Hey, Sheldon. How are you both doing? Good, good. Thank you so much for having me here today. Hi, everyone that's streaming in from home. So my name's Pete Pascalich, and I work at Curtin College. So for those folks that don't know, Curtin College is located right here on the Curtin University Perth campus. We've actually been here for just over 21 years now. And in that time, we've helped over 13,000 students graduate with a diploma and move on into the second year of a Curtin University degree. So as you can see on screen at the moment, this is really the diploma pathway and how it works. So we offer pathways into over 50 different degrees and majors here at Curtin University. And we've got entry pathways for students who have either left school early, so if someone's maybe completed year 11, or they maybe completed a certificate 3, all the way up to people that are, near miss ATAR students for direct entry, or those that have obtained the ATAR that's required for university but may need a little bit of extra support in their first year. We've got pathways that are available to students. So on screen you can see that depending on what your educational background is, it will then determine which stage of a diploma you start in. Each of these stages is between 8 and 12 months, and once you've completed all of the units, you then progress on into the next stage. And if you've completed the diploma overall, you'll then be eligible to transfer to the second year of the related degree at Curtin University. So it's a really lovely kind of smooth transition. On the next slide, we've just got a few other points. So we do have 2 to 3 intakes per year. So one of the, unique things about Curtin College is we've got intakes in February, in June, July, and also October. So this allows students to actually fast track as well. So those students that are maybe left school already, and maybe had a bit of a gap year, they can start with us in October and potentially be transferred through to the second year of a bachelor degree by mid-year in 2023. So that's awesome. It basically takes 8 months to skip 1 year, or complete 1 year rather, of your studies. It is, like I mentioned, on campus. So we've just moved to the brand new Curtin Exchange Precinct, which is a lovely new end of campus, which is really close to all of the student accommodation options like St. Catherine's and the Twin Dolphin Hall, which is a beautiful building. And one of the cool things is we've got small class sizes. So if students are needing a little bit of extra attention, at the moment, I was going for a walk through the college today, classes range from about 10 to 20 students per class. And like I mentioned, we can complete in 8 to 12 months. And the really lovely thing is that you're coming in with cohorts of similar educational background as well. So it means that everyone in the classroom has got a very, very similar educational background, and they're able to kind of progress through those units in that course together. In terms of financial support, so similar to HEX, Curtin College students can access Fee Help, which is another government deferral scheme. So essentially how it works is you'll receive the invoice from the college, and you can either choose to make a payment up front in full, part, or no payment at all, and then you'll have the rest of it deferred. So that's for any Australian citizens that are looking at alternative ways of covering their fees. Like I mentioned on that previous slide, you've got guaranteed entry into your second year at Curtin University once you finish that diploma. And we're actually doing 24-hour application outcomes at the moment. So it's a really great backup option. So if you've got your TISC application in progress, or you're submitting it really, really soon, you can also put a direct application in with Curtin College, and then you've got that option as well towards the end of the year when you get your final WACE results. All of our contact details are on screen at the moment, so you can see our direct number is 6266 1600, and just do a search for Curtin College, and you'll be able to find out all the other ways of contacting me and the team. Cool.
Thanks, Pete. One of the great things is that there are so many different ways to get into Curtin these days. So it's important to know that there's not going to be one size fits all. It's important that you actually work out which is the way that's going to work best for you, so you can actually be successful and have what you need to feel comfortable about being successful once you get into your degree course. So the most important thing I think out of it is that find what's going to work for you, and hopefully there'll be a way that'll actually allow you to have success and to feel like you actually can achieve all that you want to do when it comes to your career path. Now I think we have time for questions. Mitch, are there any questions for our lovely panellists?
Yeah, we've got a few here. So, is a question for Uni Ready or Jules. Can I go from Uni Ready to medicine?
The answer is not directly no. So the courses, the competitive courses and the professional degrees like medicine, OT, pharmacy, etc., you'd have to do an additional amount of time. So obviously the university quarantines places, or it has places for everyone coming through. But the simple answer, Mitch, there's no direct pathway, but there is a pathway for everyone to every single degree at Curtin. Sometimes those pathways are a little bit longer than 6 months, but they take care of ATARs that are greater than 70, or courses that have 2 or 3 prerequisite areas of knowledge before. So yes, but no.
Could you give an example, like maybe a health course and
Sure.
what you would have to do?
So a student would, in order to go into medicine, a student would have to have a chemistry background. So if they didn't have a chemistry background, they would need to do some bridging chemistry or have at least 2 units of chemistry. One of those units, for instance, could be done in UniReady. The student could then switch into another course that contains the option to do more chemistry so that they can actually get that significantly high level of chemistry that will help them get to be competitive for medicine. But it's really important that you know and understand that medicine is highly competitive, and obviously only those students with the highest of grades and the absolutely most competitive in the interview rounds, in the application times, all these types of different kind of hurdles that a student has to pass through. It is a complex process, but we would urge students to work hard from the very start. So from tonight, to actually start working hard to get the best results that you possibly can in order to get there.
And they would also sit the UCAT, so that's an aptitude test that you would do when you're actually studying at Curtin the year prior to moving into medicine. So that would be part of that application process.
Yep.
Yeah.
Awesome, thank you. Just on the units that you can do during UniReady, how does that work and what's the structure like?
Great question. Thanks very much for that question. So we're a 4-unit model, so it's a full-time course for 1 semester. So at university, a semester is 6 months, and in order to complete a semester, you need to pass 4 units. So the course is made up of 2 core units. So core units are simply units that everyone has to do. So the students would undertake foundations of academic writing and communications, which are the 2 English communication style units. Those are compulsory for every single person. And then there are 7 optional units. So students can choose from physics, mathematics, commerce, health sciences, humanities, mathematics, chemistry, depending on the area that you want to go in. So obviously we try and assess which is your most relevant area. You would choose that unit and then a secondary unit as a backup. So if you were planning to go into medicine, for instance, we would advise that you did the basic maths unit or the health sciences unit, and then obviously the essential unit, which would be the chemistry unit as well, just depending on your interest and your background. But 2 core units, 2 compulsory units, and then 2 optional units, which you can actually select.
Awesome, thank you. I'll give you a rest now, hand over to Pete. Pete, how soon can you start Curtin College if they've just finished year 12?
Yeah, thanks, Mitch. So like I mentioned during the presentation, we've actually got 3 main intakes every year. So the next one that's coming up for those students who have maybe already graduated from school in a previous year or left early for whatever reason, that will be October. So we've got an orientation on the 12th with classes commencing the week after. But then the other intakes, like I mentioned before, it's in February, and then June, July, and then that October one each year. It's not for every single course. There's certain courses, particularly in health sciences spaces, that maybe only have a February intake. And that's because there are things called service taught units. So that's where college students will actually become university students for select units. And that's when they need to do, prac placements, labs, that kind of thing. Yeah.
Awesome, thank you. Do you have scholarships, and if so, how do you apply for them?
Yeah, so there's no scholarships for our domestic students, but we've got access to fee help to defer your fees. Yeah.
Thank you. Okay, I'll go to Sheldon. So I've heard you can do UniReady while you're at school. Is this true?
So UniReady is available in schools, in the schools format, but you would have to be at one of the UniReady in schools. So it's offered at about 60 different schools. We would prefer that students are over the age of 16 and have finished the equivalent of year 11 or 12. Year 12 is the best way to go about it, but some schools do run a separate availability of UniReady within their schools. So we have a list on our website, but you would know from your school guidance counsellor or your careers folks at school if you're one of those 60 schools.
Awesome, thank you. Back to Pete. If I was to complete a course at Curtin College and then move into Curtin Uni, how much credit would I receive for that course?
Awesome, great question. So you'll receive the full first year of that related degree. So that means, if you're completing a Diploma of Health Sciences in nursing and you've completed that diploma, then you'll move into the second year of the Bachelor of Science Nursing at Curtin University. So receiving that full first year of credit.
Awesome, thank you. Got another one here. Does Curtin accept other enabling programs?
Yep, so for me. So does Curtin accept other enabling programs? We do. We do accept other university programs. An example of the ones that we do accept would be the uni prep at ECU and Notre Dame's one as well. So yes, we do accept some. You just need to maybe just check with our Curtin Connect team just to make sure that the enabling program, if you decide to do it at another university, is accepted. Because we look at it on a case-by-case basis.
Just a question for Sheldon. Is uni ready as hard as uni? Is the difficulty the same? What would you say?
That's a very good question. And I would say that uni ready is, it's like comparing year 11 to year 12, but we probably sit somewhere between the degree of difficulty of before university and university. So your lecturers are all university-styled lecturers, so you're treated exactly like you would be treated if you were in first year. In fact, a lot of our lecturers and the people doing the teaching in Uni Ready would be your teachers in first year as well. So they give you that genuine, authentic university experience. And our job is to kind of help you scaffold your way or kind of climb up to being successful in first year. So we do kind of scaffold and support you. Obviously, it's not exactly in line with first year. It is still a preparation course or a preparatory course to get you ready for what you do in first year. So when we have something called taxonomy or the degree of difficulty in questions, the taxonomy is slightly lower than it would be in first year, but you would learn very similar content. In health sciences, for instance, you would do the same anatomy and functional anatomy that you would do at Curtin College, for instance, or in your first year health. The questioning might be a little simpler to prepare you, but our students have to write in the same way that all university students write. They have to research, they have to do their referencing. So all of the elements of being a university student are exactly the same. Some of our units, you'll be pleased to know, are equivalent to first year units. So students get what we call anti-requisites and prerequisite waivers, so they can jump to the next higher units. So some of our maths units and our chemistry units are equivalent to first year units. So it's a very difficult question to answer across the board, but most of our units are preparatory in their nature. One or two of our units, the chemistry unit and the more difficult maths unit, are equal to some first year units. So you don't get credit as such, but you can actually jump to the next more complex unit, which is actually essential for completing your first year qualification.
Thank you. Just on the topic of credit, if I was to go to a course at Curtin College and then I wanted to change my university degree after finishing Curtin College, is that possible, and would that affect my credit for recognised learning?
Yeah, that's another great question. So obviously the diploma that you're completing will meet the entry requirements and also all the credit requirements for the related degree. If you've completely changed your mind, it really comes down to which course it is that you're wanting to then go into. So using that example of a student that's completed nursing, if they've completed their diploma at Curtin College and they've discovered that it's really not for them, or all of a sudden they've got an idea that they want to get into small business management or entrepreneurial programs, and they've discovered the Bachelor of Commerce at Curtin University, what they may be able to do is transfer all of their units from nursing into the elective positions in commerce, for example. So in that instance, they may be eligible to get that full year's worth of credit points transferred. But then on a flip side, if they were applying for another course that's maybe not as flexible as commerce or didn't have those same elective spaces, it would really be a case-by-case basis. So if it was another similar health science course that they'd met the entry requirements for, there might be common units. We've spoken about like anatomy and foundations for professional health practice, and some of those foundation common year units. So it would really be about having a chat to the Curtin Connect team. And if they're already having that kind of mindset of I'm not quite sure if this is the right course for me, it's a really great opportunity to talk to the experts and figure out what would be the best alternative to potentially set you up for any potential course changes in the future. So I hope that answers that question.
That's great, thank you. It's probably a question for the panel. What type of support is there when I first come to campus? It's very overwhelming.
All right, the first thing I would say is you must come to orientation week. It's such an important time because what you do is you just get your feet, you can go to some great sessions that will help you just with your transition into university, and you'll be able to meet people that you're actually going to be studying with. You'll meet a mentor that will be your mentor for the first 6 months, and you'll get an opportunity just to get your bearings and know where everything is before you start your classes. So one thing I would really recommend is coming to O Week and actually making the most of the opportunities. Go to some of the free sessions that can help you with some extra skills that will actually allow you to be successful. And then once you're here, take advantage of all the support you're going to get, because you can go into sort of, like if you're doing human structure and function, there's a UniPass session that you can go to that's like free tutoring. You get an opportunity to have sessions every week after the lecture week by students who have completed that particular unit, who've done very well, and facilitate and actually allow you to learn how to learn this stuff. So use all of the support that you can get, and make sure you use your mentor, because your mentor knows about how the system works and they're able to actually help you cope with that transition from either school to uni or being outside of the system for a long period of time, so you can feel really comfortable about making the most of your experience once you're there. What about some hints from you guys?
I mean, I would definitely agree with you, Jules. The more time you spend on campus, the better it is for you. So, and when I say on campus, I mean in chat rooms or on Slack. You don't have to physically be on campus, but the more time that you engage with Curtin people and with Curtin objects or with Curtin services, like the Guild, like the library that offers places for you to study in small groups. I would say that if you can connect with someone and something each week, it's going to make your life at university less overwhelming. And you will find that as big as we are is as small as we are. We just seem really big, and there seems to be a lot of buildings, but you'll find your niche and you'll find your people and you'll find the folks that you're going to be studying with, your lecturers, and you'll find that your areas is probably even smaller than the school that you come from. The kinds of people that work in your faculty, the professors, the lecturers, the researchers, they're going to be specialized, and you're going to find your people. But the only way to find your people is to actually connect, to take that risk, to get out there, to actually connect with folks, to connect with people, to connect with services. The Guild's always a very good way to start during O Week as well. But it is definitely about those connections to other students, face-to-face, over a coffee, in the sun, having lunch at one of the fabulous restaurants around, or going to study, because that's what our core business is. But it's about those connections that you actually find, and you'll find that you have lifelong friends that you can refer to as you travel through your studies. So try and connect with people and with services as soon as you can. Don't leave it too long. Connect on day one. Just walk up to someone and say, hi, what you're studying, let's get together, let's have a chat, let's do something together. Let's go and see this thing called UniPass, or let's go and have a tour through the library, because it's 7 floors and it's all over the show. So, but taking that connection, because they're feeling exactly what you're feeling. So take that step. You don't have to marry them or drive across Australia in a car with them. You just have to connect with them and just do a few fun things. And you will find that once you're connected, your life really will be quite rich.
I definitely think you should join clubs. Join some fun clubs about things that you enjoy. I love bubble tea, so I'd join the bubble tea club. But also, if you're doing occupational therapy, for example, join the society for that group, so you can then network with future employers and also network with people that are going to be your colleagues later on. What about you, Pete? What would you studied here as a mature age student?
That's right. But just echoing my colleagues, I think it's important to start from day one. So that's where orientation is so vital, and that's where you will meet, student mentors, ambassadors who have all been here for at least a semester or a year before new students have come on board. So it's just really get amongst the Curtin community, and don't be afraid to put your hand up if you're struggling or you need some support with whatever it happens to be. Find a staff member, find someone with a lanyard, and ask for some assistance.
Definitely. Good advice.
Thank you. How long after finishing a school or a TAFE course can I use that as my pathway into uni? Does it expire?
Oh, well, one great thing about once you're eligible for Curtin, you're always going to be eligible for Curtin. So if you've done a TAFE course a few years back, or if you had actually finished high school a few years back, we will always actually honour the fact that you've met our minimum requirements. So That's a great thing. You can take a few years off and then go off and do some great things and then come back afterwards with a bit more of an idea of what you want to do. Pete's the perfect example of that, aren't you, Pete?
I was just going to say, I took 8 gap years between studies. So, and it didn't expire, which was great. So you can enter at any time.
Yeah, definitely. I don't think it shouldn't stop you. The most important thing is think about what you want to do. And if you know what you want, then you'll find that you'll have the self-motivation to get through any of the hard times of all the assignments being due, etc. So if you stay motivated, you get the help from the support team that are around at Curtin, then hopefully you'll have an amazing experience and meet so many like-minded people that will be friends for life.
Thank you. For another one, I'm not doing very well in English. What can I do?
Well, if you don't know if you know that you're not doing so well, it's probably a good idea to at least know what's available to you. So the important thing I had on the slides earlier is that you can sit the written English section of the STAT if you are not successful in 8R English Lit or English as additional language or dialect, but you will have to wait until December before you can actually sit that test. The results have to come through first. Do the best you can. There's a great statistic that I think over 90% of students who have done 8R English Lit or additional language or dialect have actually passed the written English section of the STAT if they need to do it. So that's a really good sign if you have to be in that situation. A 1 hour, 2 short essays is much easier probably than doing a 3-hour exam in English. So know that there are things that you can do if things don't quite go to plan. Do the best you can though now and prepare yourself as best you can.
Thank you. I've got another one. Do I get to pick my timetable or am I on campus from 9 till 3, Monday to Friday?
Well, you definitely get to pick your timetable. That's probably one of the best things about being at uni. And the earlier that you're enrolled, the more choice you have on the classes that you can go to. So good advice is there's a plan, the timetable that you can get onto probably from about October, November of this year that will show you when all of the classes are on. And then once you are able to enrol, then you can just pick the ones that work for you. The people are actually morning people, they don't like having to deal with finding a car park on campus, then I do really recommend early classes for that. But if you are not a person that likes early classes, choose the ones in the afternoon. So that's the great thing, you'll have lots of options, don't you think?
Yeah, I mean, for instance, we have about 200 classes. And you'd have to choose 4 out of the 200. They start at 8 in the morning and they go through to 8 at night, Monday to Friday. So I can tell you now there's never anyone in the 6 to 8 maths class on a Friday. But as Jill says, get in early and have a look at that timetable, know your way around. And that's the first part of being an empowered university student, is that you have complete control in what you choose. No one forces you to take any subjects or any units, you take control. So that first step of empowerment is enrolling in what you want to enroll in and attending the classes that suit you the best. Obviously, not every class runs at every hour, and as you become more specialized, classes become fewer and fewer. But at this entry level, in first year classes or in Uni Ready, for instance, there's a huge variety of classes, a huge number of classes that you can choose to suit your work and life balance, to suit your family. And obviously, remember, a lot of our classes are also recorded. So, while it's better to be in class or it's better to be online when the class is happening, you can always catch up afterwards. But, that's there as a catch-up, not as a way to. So, but yet, very, very flexible for students.
I actually studied psychology here at Curtin, and so what I used to do is look at all of the classes that worked around my full-time job, because I was working full-time at the same time as part-time study. So that was a really good thing to do. I just made sure it was either early morning or late in the afternoon, and it really worked around my work schedule. So it's really important just to make the most of those sorts of things so you can actually be less stressed and a bit more organised.
Yeah, exactly. That's great advice. And at Curtin College, it's very similar. So majority of our classes are scheduled between 8 a.m. and 4 p.m. Monday to Friday, but there are a few after-hour class options. And because we've got those 3 intakes during the year, it's majority of those units are running in each of those intakes. So it means that there's a really wide range of units that you can choose. So it's really just about picking the ones that are going to suit your schedule for that week.
I can to give you a bit of an idea of what my daughter does. She's actually a full-time occupational therapy first-year student. She has 3 days that she comes on campus. They're all in the morning. She's finished by about, I think her latest is 1 o'clock or 2 maybe, and then she's got one that just goes in the morning, and then she has her Wednesdays and her Fridays totally free, so she can do her part-time job with that. So you can design your timetable around the other things that are in your life as well, which is pretty cool.
Awesome, thank you. Pete, just jumping back to the 3 intake periods and then how that would work with your study load and whatnot. Is there overlap with public holidays and time that normally students would have off, and how does that work?
Great question. So how it basically works is those study periods, so they're called trimesters, and they're about the same length as a normal semester. It just means that we squeeze an extra one in the year. So the first one, trimester 1, runs from February until May. The second one runs from about June until September, so that's what we're in right now. And then the third trimester runs from October to January. So the big one is, New Year's Eve and the Christmas and holiday period. We do have a study week break around that time though. So if you do have plans to get away, or you just want to kind of take some time off, the other great thing is that you can always go on a leave of absence for one of those trimesters. So potentially you could open up 3 months of holidays if you wanted to, and then play catch up the following trimester. Yeah, so lots of options, and I think the big theme is come and talk to us, and we'll figure out what would be the best approach with whatever your plans are. Thanks.
Awesome, thank you. I've got one here. What's going on with study abroad? We're having the COVID situation. Is that opening back up again?
Yes, it has. It's opened back up again. So you have the opportunity to now apply to do study abroad. We call it Go Global here. And the great thing about Go Global is that it's something that you probably would do in the 2nd year or 3rd year of your course. So the great thing is when you first get to Curtin, maybe go to one of the Go Global sessions that happen on Wednesday at lunchtimes, find out some more information, look on our website, and then you can start planning to maybe go and do a semester in another country, at another uni, or possibly go and do a semester in one of our other campuses around the Indian Ocean Rim. We have campuses in Mauritius, in Dubai, in Singapore, and also Malaysia. So that's a great thing. We also have a campus up in Kalgoorlie as well. The other things that a lot of courses do have is that they have study tours. So it means you can go off for in between semesters, and actually maybe if you're doing a finance course, you could be going around and seeing all the stock exchanges of the world, for example. Or you can go and do an internship in the Maldives or something like that if you're doing a finance major. Those sorts of things are really possible. So definitely get out there and experience that international flavour that Curtin has to offer.
Awesome, thank you. I think that was our last question, Jules.
Great. Well, I'd just like to thank both of you for coming today to talk about many different ways of getting into Curtin University. I also would like to mention that we have our Curtin Open Week this week. So if you're interested in finding out and going on accommodation tours or finding out more about all the health courses that are on, that's on tomorrow, Tuesday. We also have the humanities and business and law opportunities on Wednesday, and also science engineering is on Thursday, and it goes from 4 till 7 o'clock. On campus, we do recommend that you come out and actually talk to people who teach the course, go and listen to some of the sessions that are on about Pacific areas, just to give you an opportunity just to also walk around campus and just see what's around. So my definite recommendation, if you haven't already registered, please get onto our events page on our Curtin website and come along and have a great time. Now, I just want to mention that we do have vouchers coming for anyone who has attended this course. There is going to be a draw for, I think it's a $1,000 voucher for Apple, which is pretty cool. So that draw will happen at 7 o'clock tonight, and whoever actually wins that, we'll get in touch with you. So hopefully there will be an opportunity for you to actually spend a bit of money, which would be great. The last thing I just want to mention is that we will be around to answer your questions for the next 15 minutes. So if you would like, you're very welcome to keep asking questions, and our lovely Mitch will be answering them away very busily. But from me and from Sheldon and Pete, we'd just like to thank you all for attending tonight. And if you need any more help, just get in touch with Curtin Connect or contact us on our number 1300 222 888. Thanks so much.